Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Luna confirmed alive. Lee's leave of absence puzzles Finn. The recap of The Bold and the Beautiful for Tuesday, July 29th, shows that Luna Nozoa was proven to be alive on screen after John Finnegan was confused by Lee Finnegans' absence. At the hospital, Finn stopped Lee as she walked by with a big box of stuff. Lee stated she'd packed everything as she was taking a leave of absence. So Finn was bewildered about the news since it was so unlike his mom. Lee is usually a workaholic, but she behaved like she needed some time to think about what had transpired with Luna and Poppy Nozawa before that. People started talking about Steffi Forrester spending time with the kids. Finn would miss them, but he knew they would come back. Finn couldn't help but think about how close Luna came to making it, so he never saw his wife again. After Finn threw additional questions at Lee about her leave of absence, she ultimately acknowledged she needed to take care of things, and said it should have been done a long time ago. Next, on Tuesday's B&B program, Lee went to the hospital bed where she had hidden Luna. Lee opened her package of medical supplies, pulled aside the curtain to see Luna, and then clicked some buttons on the apparatus she was connected to. When Eric Forrester, Ridge Forrester, and Brooke Logan got to Naples, they had a welcoming party on a rooftop. Meanwhile, Nick visited with a man regarding the boat he required for his forthcoming journey with Brooke. Luigi, a mechanic, was working on the boat's hydraulics and steering wheel, but Nick was told that the boat will be completed on time. Nick finally found Brooke and greeted her in an excited Italian way. Brooke agreed to fit in some fun with Nick on this vacation, so he lied it was a date and kissed her as Eric stared nearby. At the Forrester mansion, Donna Logan and Taylor Hayes chatted about how much they missed Eric and Ridge, now that they'd landed in Italy. Donna wound up talking about Ridge being the only guy who made Brooke happy, but Taylor thought Nick may be a legitimate choice for her instead. Although Donna pointed out that Nick wasn't Brooke's first choice, Taylor insisted that was too bad and played up the fact that Ridge was taken. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers claim Taylor has some sadness in her future, so stay tuned for updates on how Ridge and Brooke's impending reunion will affect her. Bold and Beautiful's shocking reveal. It's true, Luna is alive. Okay, that didn't take long. It feels like the blood's just dried and farewells barely said to Luna on The Bold and the Beautiful, and she's already back from the dead. Well, we guess she never actually died. And really, we're not totally surprised. Lee was acting far too odd with the entire "we couldn't save her" thing at the hospital. And then there was that script. But nothing's ever certain on a soap until we see it on our screens. And tonight, Bold and Beautiful finally showed us Luna, alive and well, being cared for by Lee. Is anyone else having Finn déjà vu? Sheila, Lee Finn bedside B&B. The trouble is, while we know what Lee was attempting to do with Finn, save her son's life and keep him safe from Sheila's psychopathic infatuation, we're a bit less convinced about what she wants to do with Luna. She just told Finn that she's taking a leave of absence from the hospital to do something she should have done a long time ago. That would sound scary, but if she wanted Luna dead, surely she would have just let her die in the hospital. Maybe she plans on nursing Luna back to life and give her the love she so dearly needs? No, we don't see that. Perhaps she has another idea to tamp down Luna's homicidal tendencies and mend her mind. Or maybe she just can't bear to watch her granddaughter die, but also doesn't trust sending her back to prison. After all, that didn't work for either Luna or Sheila. Lee might just keep her granddaughter/niece locked up, wanting nothing more than to keep her from hurting Lee's family again. About all we know for now is that Luna is indeed still alive, showing that you can't keep a good villain down. But then, soap viewers know that better than most. Luna wakes up with amnesia, can't remember her crimes. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers warn that Luna Nozawa may wake up with amnesia and find that she can't remember her crimes. Could that be the next twist percolating in this wild Luna saga? B&B fans will recall that Luna came to Los Angeles as a lot softer version of herself. No one could have anticipated that sweet young woman would develop into such a terrible madman. Luna was the hero who found Eric Forrester's stapler an attractive girlfriend who made out with R.J. Forrester at work. Who would have imagined that same Luna would be capable of all the cruelty she ultimately inflicted? After Luna killed Tom Starr and Paul Hollister, she let Poppy Nozoa look like the guilty party. Luna eventually held Steffi hostage in a cage before she was finally captured. Of course, Bill Spencer got Luna pardoned, which gave her the opportunity to unleash more criminal mischief. Luna threatened Will Spencer's life before all the horrible drama at the beach house blew out with Steffi, Sheila Sharp, and Liam Spencer. Although Lee Finnegan said Luna was dead in the hospital, we know she's hiding her niece and granddaughter's survival. Luna is comatose in Lee's care, so it's just a matter of time until she wakes up and wonders what's going on. If B&B wanted to provide an even larger shock, perhaps they could have Luna awaken with amnesia. What if Luna's thinking reverts to a simpler time, like when she initially moved to Los Angeles and had such huge ambitions surrounding her internship at Forrester Creations? It'd be interesting to see Luna respond to the knowledge of all the nasty things she's done. Luna would also have to acquire updates on John Finnegan being her father, as she wouldn't remember that either. This could aid Lee with the second chance she's trying to give Luna. The program might offer Luna a bit of a clean slate with an amnesia twist. However, viewers would undoubtedly have questions about whether she might be faking it. The bold and the beautiful spoilers claim Luna has more shockers ahead no matter what. The sun hung low over Los Angeles as a weird tension pervaded the corridors of University Hospital. It was in the smallest, quietest of moments that the loudest secrets were often formed, and today would prove no exception. Dr. John Finnegan sat against the nurse's station, his brow furrowed, his mind confused in the mystery that had evolved since the terrible death of Luna Nozoa. As he looked up and caught sight of his adoptive mother, Dr. Lee Finnegan, rushing rapidly down the corridor with a box full of personal possessions, something inside him wrenched. She was the picture of serenity, too calm, her stance tight, her eyes unreadable, her lips pushed into a neutral smile as if she were attempting to suppress something simmering just beneath the surface. "You're taking a leave of absence?" Finn asked, his voice thick with disbelief. Lee nodded, offering him a prepared answer. That after all that had happened with Luna, Poppy, and the Forrester upheaval, she simply wanted time. Time to process, to breathe, to reassess. But Finn, who had grown up detecting the tiny indications in his mother's tightly strung temperament, knew she wasn't giving the complete truth. The lady who once faked his death to shield him from Sheila Carter wasn't one to relinquish her post easily. Something was off. When he pressed her again, Lee's expression hardened. "There's something I need to take care of. Something I should have handled a long time ago," she said cryptically, brushing past him as she disappeared toward the hospital exit, leaving Finn alone with a creeping sense of dread. Elsewhere, in a hidden section of a private medical institution Lee had discreetly funded, the truth was stirring behind white curtains and sterile apparatus. After entering a hidden code into the keypad, Lee pulled open the steel-reinforced door and entered into the room that held her most guarded secret. Luna Nozoa, the girl who was supposed to be dead, the girl who had nearly destroyed them all. Luna was comatose in a hospital bed, surrounded by monitors and 4 lines. Her long dark hair surrounded her face, angelic in repose, and if one hadn't seen the chaos she had caused, they would have mistaken her for innocent. As Lee pulled aside the curtain, she said, "You're still with me, and now I have to correct everything." She checked the vitals, adjusted her oxygen flow, and injected a carefully prepared serum into her 4-line, one Lee had spent months perfecting to stabilize her niece's brain chemistry. It was risky. It was untested. But if Luna were to wake up without the darkness, without the lunacy, then maybe she could still have a life. Maybe Lee could redeem not just Luna, but herself. Back at Forrester Creations, the tornado of Italy's glamour was beginning to unfurl. Eric Forrester, Ridge, and Brooke came in Naples for a long-anticipated fashion partnership with a European couture designer. The rooftop welcoming party glittered with lights, alcohol, and photographer flashes. But even in the midst of champagne toasts and beautiful gowns, anxiety brewed. Nick Marone had arrived earlier, enticing local boat technicians to ready a yacht for a private voyage with Brooke, a gesture that both thrilled her and severely troubled Ridge. As Nick located Brooke in the courtyard, he pulled her into a playful embrace, laying a kiss on her cheek while Eric, lurking in the shadows, watched with mounting disgust. "It's just dinner," Brooke answered with a smile, but even she felt the electric energy zipping between them, made more complicated by Ridge's presence and the recollection of their history, a past she wasn't sure she was ready to let go of. Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles, Donna and Taylor sat at the Forrester mansion, sipping wine and catching up. Nick isn't Ridge. But maybe that's the point, Taylor mused, her gaze wistful. Donna disagreed. Brooke's heart is with Ridge. Always has been. But Taylor, tired of the back-and-forth love triangle, quietly hoped Brooke would choose someone who didn't keep breaking her heart. Unbeknownst to either woman, however, Ridge was already organizing a romantic surprise in Italy, a sunset yacht proposal that would either cement their future or blow it all apart depending on Brooke's reaction to Nick's growing love. But all of that glamour was quickly eclipsed by a slow-burning enigma that refused to die: Luna. Lee's leave of absence had sparked doubts around the hospital, and it wasn't long before Finn began probing into her files. An encrypted patient record, a supply order for a rural clinic, a drug that shouldn't be on any current chart. Piece by piece, he began to unravel a trail of falsehood. Sheila Carter, oddly, was the one who discovered it initially. During a volunteer stint at the hospital, she saw Lee's strange access history and alerted Finn, "Whatever Lee's doing, you might not like the truth." It was almost too surreal. Sheila, the woman who once shot him and Steffi, now trying to protect them. Finn laughed her off at first, but the more he looked, the more he realized Sheila might be right, and that terrified him. Lee, for her part, kept vigil over Luna. Every day, she murmured to the unconscious girl, recreating scenes from her youth. "You weren't always like this," she said. "You were gentle, bright before the rage took you." She remembered how Luna had slid between the cracks, how Poppy had lied, how the truth about Finn being Luna's father was hidden. She remembered the blood, the screaming, the headlines. And she remembered the moment she lied to the world and said Luna was gone, killed from the encounter at the beach house. But the fact was far more complicated. Luna had survived the blast, but barely, and Lee, with all her shortcomings, couldn't let her die, not without trying one last time to save her. And now, Luna's fingers twitched. In a flash of movement that shocked Lee, Luna's eyelids flew open, but there was no recognition in them. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice raspy, eyes wild and frightened. "Who are you?" Lee's heart sank. The amnesia had set in. It was a blessing and a curse. Luna couldn't remember her crimes, the people she'd injured, the lives she destroyed. She had no memory of Tom Starr's murder, of framing Poppy, or threatening Will Spencer. She was a blank slate, a tabula rasa. And Lee understood she had a decision to make: tell Luna the truth, or let her start over. Finn, now close to finding the truth, finally tracked his mother's location using a hospital shipment record. He arrived at the site, shocked to discover it under armed security. When he burst into the room and saw Luna alive, hooked up to machines, Lee tried to explain. "I didn't lie to hurt you," she continued. "I lied to protect her. To protect you." Finn stood in stunned silence as Luna turned to him, confused. "Do I know you?" she whispered. The emotional weight of it all was crushing. Finn glanced into her eyes, the same eyes that previously carried malice, now lost in innocence, and didn't know whether to hold her or run. What ensued was a family reckoning like no other. Poppy scolded Lee for hiding Luna. Bill Spencer demanded answers, especially after learning he'd signed off on Luna's legal pardon. Brooke and Ridge, returning from Italy after their spectacular reunion. Yep, she chose Ridge again, found themselves sucked into the maelstrom. And Sheila, yes, Sheila, had the nerve to offer Luna advice on how to start over after doing the unimaginable. It was chaos. It was beautiful. It was bold and the beautiful at its absolute best. As the weeks proceeded, Luna began to piece together her identity, in fragments, like broken mirrors reflecting a shattered soul. Memories surfaced. Flashbacks tormented her. She screamed in her sleep. She grieved in her waking hours. And the issue remained, was she faking the amnesia, or was this her one shot at redemption? And through it all, Lee kept vigil. Her leave of absence, no longer a mystery, but a mission. A mother's desperate gamble. A doctor's dangerous hope. And as the season approached its jaw-dropping end, fans were left with one more twist. Luna, standing alone in the Forrester CO office late at night, peering into the mirror and murmuring a name no one expected. Rana. Because sometimes the person you think you've saved isn't who you think they are at all. Bold and the beautiful 2-week spoilers for July 28th to August 8th. 2025 see Brooke Logan in risk and Luna Nozawa struggling for her life. Bold and the beautiful Monday 28th. As they have been doing for the past many weeks, Bold and the Beautiful delivered their spoilers late. That's why we've got 2-week spoilers out for you today. Just real quick, if you have not seen Monday, July 28th's episode, it was season 38, episode 217. I'll tell you what transpired fairly quick. Steffi Forrester is ready to leave LA. Steffi is out on her maternity break. Kid number 5, honestly, might have already been born since her last episode aired. That suggests she ended filming around 4 weeks ago. So, we'll let you know a firm return date as we have it. Bold and the beautiful spoilers. Bill and Liam's heart-to-heart. Bill Spencer told Liam Spencer he spent $1 million on his amazing surgery, shocking his son. Bill and Liam had a lot of mushy-loving father-son moments that were extremely wonderful on Monday. Finnegan gets suspicious and checks out Liam's operation wound, and he thinks it looks weird. A very concerned Grace Buckingham was at the mansion outside the door, eavesdropping, where Finn was talking about how it just didn't look like it was a big enough wound. Things like that. And again, I assume it's only a flesh wound. I think she hardly cut him open, patched it up, moved on because she's lying. We'll find out. At the Forrester Creations office, Taylor Hayes almost ordered Brooke, "Bro, stop trying to skank your way into bed with my fiancé," while she stared at Taylor. And Brooke seems to be planning exactly that. Taylor says she doesn't respect her relationship. I'm sure Brooke felt the same way when Taylor climbed in bed with Ridge Forrester, 5 seconds after he decided he was going to break up with Brooke and hadn't even officially told her. Bold and the beautiful spoilers. Eric confronts Nick. Nick Marone walked by Forrester to chat to Brooke about Italy, and he was growing passionate with her. Eric Forrester was eavesdropping and then followed Nick out to advise him, "Don't go to Italy. Bugger off." Ridge and Brooke are reconciling. Same stuff. Eric again told Ridge, and only Eric appears assured of this. Brooke's hopeful about it. Eric's certain. Nick reminded Eric that Ridge is engaged to Taylor. Bold and the beautiful Italy trip spoilers. Brooke, Ridge, and Nick's love triangle drama. On Tuesday, July 29th, it's season 38, episode 218 of Bold and the Beautiful. Eric, Brooke, and Ridge hit Italy, and Nick is over there too. Forrester Creations is teaming with Italian designer Luisa Bicaria. There's going to be an excellent fashion exhibition involving Brooke as one of the models. Ridge and Brooke will arrive at the fashion show together on a boat and exhibit a united front as they did at the most recent fashion show, even though they're not physically participating. He's still rejecting her. It looks like Eric may be the one who organized for Brooke and Ridge to get on that boat. Just the two of them, because he is forcing them together. Bold and the beautiful spoilers. Nick makes proposal plans. Eric toasts the crowd as they await Brooke and Ridge's appearance at the fashion event. Meanwhile, Nick is ready to hop on a boat of his own and sail over to Capri to meet Brooke. But the maintenance guy is working on something on the boat, and that frustrates Nick, who's impatient. It appears like Brooke has to wait till the fix is done. Nick's yacht isn't going to be ready until the next day, and we discover that he's secreted an engagement ring for Brooke in his pocket. This week in the promo, Nick said it's time for the fun to begin. So he stepped up and said, "Hey, I heard you're not with Ridge anymore." He got one kiss out of her and he's like, "I'm going to propose." Brad Bell is just the worst writer. If you disagree, put it in the comments, but it's just bad. Midweek bold and the beautiful drama. Eric's push for Ridge and Brooke, fashion show tensions. Wednesday, July 30th is season 38, episode 219 of Bold and the Beautiful. Eric is clear that he wants Ridge to reunite with Brooke during this Italy trip. This is probably the 7th time they have had this conversation. Eric says it. Ridge is like, "I'm with Taylor. Please stop it." Eric persists. This time he tells Ridge, it's time to make a decision between Brooke and Taylor. Even though Ridge has already made that decision and asked his dad to butt out. The fashion show continues midweek. But it also appears like there's going to be huge drama thereafter. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Brooke overcome with emotion. Thursday, July 31st is season 38, episode 220 of Bold. Brooke becomes distraught thinking back to all the time she and Ridge had been in Italy together. Then we're going to have a scene with Ridge and Brooke looking pretty nervous. Nick is part of that in Italy. Nick and Ridge are going to get into a fight. Looks like more of a war of words than an actual physical brawl, but one can always hope. This week, Brooke is going to crack on Ridge when she again doesn't get what she wants, which is his dumping Taylor and choosing her. At the same time, Ridge is also trying to stop Brooke from going after Nick. Brooke has had enough and is going to tell Ridge to step off and follow Nick.